Welcome to that 80s show, Dori. I swear to God, is there a dog barking in that song?
There might be. You never know. There's definitely lots going on in that song.
There's a lot happening. We don't play enough. I think that's the first time this year we've played REM.
Probably the first time in about 3 years we've played REM.
Yeah. Good song for misheard lyrics. Great song for misheard lyrics. The one I like. Fall on me, don't fall on me. Get off my spine. I've got my orange crushed. That just sounds sore. I don't want to get my orange. Sometimes you sit on your oranges, you crush them. When you sit on the couch, you're not looking. So that's not great. But you got some stories about this. You said, oh, we've got to play that. I want to tell you something about it.
Well, I mean, not stories necessarily, just like it is one. Okay, I probably love 5 REM songs and absolutely detest the rest.
That's the reason.
One of the ones I love.
That's the reason we don't play REM, because it's a fine window to get the 5 that you like.
There's min songs, yes. But that is one of the ones I do love, and I kind of for many years never really thought about what the lyrics meant until today. So I did some digging. What is that song about? Because I know you think it's about Eros, right?
No, well, so here's the thing, right? Super fan of the show, cousin Louis, and we got another super fan of the show. I hope I'm putting words in his mouth. I assume he's a super fan. Coming up later. He sends me, he must have been cleaning out something at his parents' house, and he goes, can you really call yourself 80s unless you've drank orange drink? Like orange Fanta or something. And listen, in South Africa, our orange Fanta is orange. Like you might be listening to this overseas going, oh, because overseas orange Fanta is like, it's kind of orange juicy. No. Our orange Fanta is orange. He goes like, can you really call yourself 80s unless you've drank orange Fanta out of this cup? And it was one of those beautiful, like it was a goblet almost with like the little round yellow like motif. It's such an 80s cup.
Blommetjies. Blommetjies is the only way to describe it.
It could have been blommetjies. Maybe that's the word. Could have been blommetjies. And that's what got me. Oh, but you could drink Orange Crush out of it. Orange Crush. Now I want to sleep. Go into REM state. Oh, wait. It's REM. It's a bullshit story.
It is really scary being inside your brain. It's all I'm going to say at this point.
Okay.
Like, you're so weird.
Sorry.
Anyway, so doing some digging, I found songfacts.com. Orange Crush was an orange-flavored drink. We know this. In this case, though, it was meant to refer to Agent Orange, a chemical used by the U.S. to defoliate the Vietnamese jungle during the Vietnam War.
Oh.
So, turns out, Michael Stipe, his dad served in Vietnam, and he grew up in army bases. One of those army military kids who moved around a lot as a kid because his dad was in the military and served in Vietnam. So he was inspired to write Orange Crush based on that.
Oh, well.
Now you know. But on this page, there is a fantastic, silly misheard lyric that I have to share because this person, if not already a listener of the show, should be a listener of the show. Says here, it's clearly about Michael Stipe in a Chinese restaurant and his friend got his order and he's looking for a table and Michael is behind him. Michael is hopped up on sake and here's his buddy Wrong who says, follow me, I've got my rice, I've got my orange duck.
That doesn't work.
Well, I just thought I'd share.
It is a good one. I had a weird misheard lyric over the weekend to Power of Love, the Huey Lewis and the News version from Back to the Future. And there's a line in there that goes, tougher than diamonds, rich like cream. And both my daughter and I heard tougher than diamonds, Krispy Kreme. And we're like, both stopped. We looked. We're like, did he just say Krispy Kreme? And now, listen, what had happened in the day, he obviously didn't. But my sister-in-law had sent my daughter like 24 Krispy Kreme donuts. So we were like in a Krispy Kreme daze. And it was now affecting our ear holes that we're hearing Krispy Kremes in movie soundtrack songs.
I'm going to have to listen to that again and see what I hear now. Now that I'm listening out for it, I'll have to listen.
Now you'll hear Krispy Kremes. Tori, I found something this morning that I quickly added because it is so spectacular. Now, I'm going to play you a video. You got that first link there, right? Have you opened it yet? The one that says...
I have not.
Twitter. Open it quickly. So I found this thing.
Okay.
And it is about Michael Warburton. I don't know who he is. He posted this on Twitter saying, Orson Welles may have dismissed the idea of appearing on the Love Boat, but just look at the then and future stars who did. So it's about 2 minutes long of all the people who guest starred on the Love Boat through the late 70s and 80s. Okay.
OMG, I'm watching it.
Are you okay? So I want you to. So I'm going to play it. So we can. So I'm going to play it here. So we can. I'm going to play the Love Boat theme, and as we go through, now there are some people, Babyface Deluxe. Some people you're not going to know straight away. I'm going to name them, but as we go through, if you can just name some of the guest stars, Love Boat theme song.
So you want me to name them as we go through?
If you can, cool. Yeah. It's very quick. Right. And it's one of those where in the comments it says, it holds on their face. We'll put this up on that 80 Show SA Facebook page. On a smile, too long or just long enough for it to become an awkward, uncomfortable smile. So that's what everyone, they come in, they do that like guest star smile. And then it's like, okay, cut now, cut. I can't hold this shit anymore, right? Okay, Love Boat incoming.
Okay, so we have.
Oh wait, that Love Boat is not playing nicely. But anyway, okay, so I'm
very
not
loud in my ears.
It was very loud. Okay. That didn't quite work. Okay, name some of the people. That's not going to work.
Okay, so Michael J. Fox
in the Love Boat, but super young. That's way before Family Ties.
I mean, he looks like 12.
Yeah.
Courtney Cox also looking rather young.
Mm-hmm.
Tom Hanks looking very Afro-ish. I mean, that hair. He has much hair in that picture.
Indeed.
David Hasselhoff. Oh my God.
Of course he's going to be there. What do you expect?
But he's also looks ridiculously young.
No, so like this crazy. None of these people are stars yet. This is obviously like we got some kid on our books. We're going to put them on Love Boat.
Yeah. Okay, but the next person was a star already. Melissa Gilbert. She was in Little House on the Prairie.
Okay, yes.
And she looks old enough because she was a little kid in Little House on the Prairie. So I think this would have been post that time.
Just after that, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Patrick Duffy, he of Dallas fame.
I mean, do me a favor with Patrick Duffy.
Tori Spelling, but like as a little kid.
But
not the Tori Spelling we know from Beverly Hills 90210.
Didn't her dad produce Love Boat?
He produced everything. Yeah. So chances are he did. Okay, cool. Janet Jackson.
Janet
Jackson.
Yep.
Looking remarkably unlike herself. Wow.
And looking unlike Michael Jackson.
looking unlike any Jackson. Jamie Lee Curtis with long hair, looking particularly 70s.
Mm-hmm.
Richard Dean Anderson, OMG.
Doesn't look like him.
No, MacGyver looking all nerdy.
It's like, you know what the thing that struck me is that it's Richard Dean Anderson without his like proper MacGyver mullet and brush cut. It's like seeing a Smurf without a hat. I don't think I like this Richard Dean Anderson.
And he's wearing a tux. So he doesn't look like himself at all.
Yeah, it's like you could not. I mean,
if you showed me that without the name, I wouldn't know who that was.
I know. I mean, you couldn't even make a decent bomb with that bow tie. So that's I'm not buying into that.
Dirk Benedict from the A-Team.
Face from the A-Team.
Face from the A-Team.
This must have been. I think he was already famous from. Must have already, because these obviously aren't all in the same time. This was over the run of Love Boat, so they would have been famous already.
Yeah.
Some people. So that's Face.
That looks early 80s style hair.
Look who swirls around next. Dory.
Joan Collins.
She
really does swirl around, though.
She really does.
Makes an entrance.
Yeah. Great
with
swirl.
a large shoulder pad, or I don't know what that is on her shoulder.
It's a small creature. That's on her shoulder.
OMG, Heather Locklear.
Yep. Babe, Heather Locklear, 80s
with
babe.
Serious 80s hair.
Oh, beautiful.
Serious.
Beautiful. I don't think there exists an instrument this day that can do your hair that way.
Okay, and also Leslie Nielsen. I knew Leslie Nielsen was on the Love Boat, so that's not a surprise. Lee Majors. Die man van Staal.
The $1 billion man, but in South Africa, he's die man from Staal. All those people listening to this to get some 80s nostalgia. Die man van Staal.
Die man van Staal, the Man of Steel. Oh, I love that show so much.
That was a great show.
Oh, it was one of my favorites. Conrad Vane.
On that point,
The Village
quickly,
People.
of course, I saw that episode. I remember seeing the Village People on the Love Boats. I was like, I want to be on that boat.
I do not remember that.
No, I remember that. I want to watch
amazing.
it. Dori, just going back to the Man van Staal, right? Like
Yes.
how, because obviously that's not like a literal Afrikaans translation. I mean, it's the man of steel if you had translate back. But what would it be? Die biljoen dollar man. And then billion, is it? And then would you have had to like convert it for currency? And the rand was strong back then, so probably. So they had
biljoen rond.
the biljoen.
Rond, man.
They had this conversation. They had this conversation.
And then they went, let's just call it Die Man van Staal.
Yeah, let's just do that.
Okay. Going back to the Love Boat. Telly Savalas, Kojak himself.
Of course.
Was he on as Kojak though? That is the question.
So I remember the Love Boat was lame as hell. So he probably was on as at least some version of Kojak, like a parody or something of Kojak. It was probably the same network, so maybe it was even Kojak. Tony Danza, and you missed Todd Willis, from what you're talking about, Willis.
Oh, is that who that was? I did see him, but I was like, I don't know.
Yeah, so it's the brother and sister from that show, but not Gary Coleman. What was he?
Okay.
Gary Coleman, yeah.
Yes. Tony Danza on the Love Boat. I don't remember that either.
Eric Estrada from Chips.
Poncho. What? Poncharello.
That's
Poncharello from Chips. Yeah, that's it. Linda Evans, of course, from Dynasty.
Also.
So Joan Collins and Linda Evans were both on.
And later on, spoiler alert, John Forsyth. So I wonder if they were all on together.
Wouldn't they have put them on this thing together? No, I suppose not. The Harlem Globetrotters.
They were huge in the 80s.
Kirstie Alley, R.I.P.
There's Kirstie Alley in there.
Kirstie Alley was on the Love Boat.
Yeah, Dori, at this point, everyone was on the Love Boat.
I know. I feel like I need to find these episodes and watch them.
And those are the main ones.
Ursula Andress,
both the Gabors, Morgan Fairchild. Yeah.
Okay, and then John Forsyth.
Oh, wait. And then two of your hunks, Story, Lorenzo Lamas.
Wait.
Lorenzo Lamas.
Jaja Gabor.
Yes.
I mean, that's not surprising. Lee Horsley. What was that terrible show that he was in? Lee Horsley. What was it?
The memorable show.
It was such a bad show. So forgettable that I can't even remember the name. I feel like something with an M.
Man van Staal.
I'm going to look it up. But let's just go through. Lorenzo Lamas, you mentioned. Mark Harmon.
And then Mark Harmon. But really not looking like Mark Harmon at all.
No, not much at all. Robert Vaughan, quite a famous name.
Mm-hmm.
Dick Van Patten, quite a famous name. Erin Gray from Buck Rogers.
That's it.
Biddy biddy, biddy biddy, Twiki, biddy biddy. That was Buck Rogers. Lorne Green, definitely a famous name. There's Richard Anderson. So there's Richard Dean Anderson, and then there's a guy named Richard Anderson.
Obviously the fake one. We don't.
Well, his dad.
Oh, maybe. No, he didn't come from a Hollywood family, did he?
I'm just teasing. I really don't know.
He was Canadian.
Unlikely.
He was Canadian.
Yes.
I mean, not to dismiss it. So that's the Love Boat. So I think you go find the episodes, go back, find some of these stars. It's like a bit of a bingo, star watching, and see, like, it's weird because what big stars would they have become on the Love Boat? For some reason, Dori, Boy George is popping up a lot the past few weeks in my feeds. Because he was on that show, I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. And he had some crazy revelations. I'd love to see what the show was, what actually happened in the show, because all the tabloids, kind of like every day, something pops up with him. In a segment I hilariously titled "Boy George Really Wants to Hurt You," he breaks his silence on an assault conviction from 2009. So one of the campmates brought it up, right? So nobody's ever spoken about this. Nobody's really got the details. And somebody brought it up. So he opened up about it. He said he served 4 months of a 15-month jail term. I do remember this. For falsely...
I do remember that.
Yes. Served 4 months for falsely imprisoning male escort Auden Carlson in 2009. So Boy George says it was... Right? It was a wake-up call to change his life, and he's been sober ever since. He was awkwardly quizzed about jailing by his campmate. He refused to go into details, but then in a new interview said the reason I don't talk about it is it drags all of us down. I was prosecuted on my own evidence. When I told the police I'd handcuffed this guy, my lawyer said, "Why did you tell them?" I thought I'd tell the truth and be allowed home, admitted the Karma Chameleon singer. There was naivety about it because I was on a lot of drugs. I don't want to hurt the guy. I don't hate him or wish him any harm. I'm like, move on with your life because I remember sitting in myself thinking, I've done this and you've got to fix it. What the hell? I didn't know about this.
Is that what inspired the song? Do you really want to hurt me?
Right. It would have been later. That's crazy. So, Boy George, how do you wrongfully arrest somebody? So he obviously handcuffed him, said this guy did some stuff to me, got him arrested, and then admitted, okay, that guy didn't do anything. And, Boy George mid-80s going to have access to handcuffs. He's going to have access to handcuffs. So, right. You, a few weeks ago, threw out, said, got a movie, childhood trauma, need somebody to help me. 2 weeks let me down. Is this the week where that somebody helps you?
This is the week. This is the week that we revisit my childhood trauma.
Okay.
Well, one of them, because we've discussed The Shining a lot.
Right.
Which is still ever present. I know that for many children, the land, Return to Oz is a childhood trauma.
Yep.
Common one. This one that I'm going to talk about today, probably less common because it was, I think, only a thing in New Zealand and South Africa. I don't think it was a thing anywhere else.
Oh, wow.
But who knows? So this was initially a TV series in 1982. We would have got it here probably, I don't know when it actually played in South Africa. Maybe our guest will know. But I remember being traumatized because this show would play in the afternoon on TV. And I don't know why I subjected myself to it because it was horrific and terrifying and gave me nightmares. And yet I didn't stop watching it. Anyway, at this point, I'm going to introduce my friend Dom, who is a very good and old friend of mine. He's very old. He's like 90. No, I'm joking. But the point is that Dom he is one of the people who he has introduced me to many films that I probably regret, most of them, but at the same time, he's also very useful when it comes to talking about horrific things. Horror is his thing, and he writes really well. And it was just too traumatic for me to actually delve back into this TV series. And I was like, I'm going to take get someone else to help me with this. And so, Dom, welcome to that 80s show. Do you remember?
Thank you, Dori.
Do you remember what year this was foisted upon our young minds in South Africa? This show?
I don't specifically remember. Hey, Dori. Hey, Paolo.
Hey, Dom.
It was 83 or 84. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I mean,
so we were around 10, 11 years old when we went through this horror.
Indeed, yeah. And thanks so much for the trip down PTSD lane. It was really interesting. I watched all 8 episodes of Under the Mountain, rewatched it. And yes,
they're on YouTube, right? They're all on YouTube.
Yes. So, it was fairly traumatic, re-experiencing all of that. And I totally understand why we came away with PTSD. For young kids, it was fairly horrific.
Yes. Okay, so before we carry on, Paula, I've put a link in the notes. Just click on that link and watch the clip from the show to get an idea of the trauma that we went through. Do you know the show, Paula? Do you remember it?
You know what? It sounds very familiar, but let's play this out because normally when something pops up like that, do you want to hear the sound? Are we playing the sound as well?
We can play the sound,
yes,
because it's a clip. It's a clip,
Let's play that.
Painted black. They must be very scared of sunlight.
Skeet.
Hurry!
So the kids are like basically breaking into this window that's all been like, boarded up. They're breaking into this house.
Yeah, so the boy's bashing out like this boarded up window. Oh my, what the hell was that? A creature, there's a ghoul. And now there's a man. Oh, that's not a man you want to see. Why is a man covered in slime?
Why?
Keep watching.
It doesn't matter now.
All good questions.
A trapdoor.
It's very dramatic. This is a very bad set. It's supposed to look like covered in spider webs. Oh no, the man transformed. He's all pussy now. Oh, gross.
Goopy and slimy.
Yes.
Okay.
He wants change.
At this point, I think Paolo will explain.
Yes.
Dom will explain what is going on in this. So, in my memory, the show was very dark. So I don't know why the scene is so brightly lit, because everything that happened in the show was totally dark. But maybe that's just my PTSD memories. Okay, Dom, give us an outline of what's going on. Yeah,
I will do so. Okay, so you have two kids. They are twins called Rachel and Theo, and they get contacted by a very strange man who looks like he comes straight out of To Catch a Predator. He calls himself Mr. Jones, which is also, I think, a dead giveaway. And he shows up when these kids are still babies. They get lost in the forest, and he shows up and he kind of looks after them and watches over them, which I think is already a bit problematic.
You're right.
And then later on in life, they go to visit their uncle somewhere near a volcano. I'm not exactly sure of the geographical specifics. But weird things start happening when they're there. Suddenly this Mr. Jones appears. He hasn't aged at all, over the last 10 years or whatever. So there's a bit of a question mark about that dude. Somehow he's the good guy. I don't understand exactly how that works.
Well,
but he teaches
the guy that just transformed. He's the good guy, the slimy guy.
No. The slimy guy we'll get to.
Okay.
So he tells them that he's fighting these race of extraterrestrial slugs, which are known here on Earth as the Wilberforces. That hardly strikes fear into the hearts of civilizations, and these slugs have been traveling around the universe and colonizing planets, and now they're here to colonize Earth. And the only people who can stop them are two 10-year-old children who are hallucinating vividly. They get taught by Mr. Jones to use their telepathy, and he gives them these little rocks that they can hold in order to speak telepathically with one another.
Yes, and there was something about the word oblivion. It used to haunt my nightmares, the word oblivion. And
something
the
like
one rock
that.
would be blue and the one rock would be red.
Exactly. So yes, the episode called Red Force, Blue Force, and they learn to use these two rocks. So the boy Theo has a blue one, the girl Rachel has the red one, and ultimately, it's fairly classic story. They have to bring the powers together and learn how to use them to finally rid the world of the Wilberforces. But I think that's kind of the basic outline of it. But I think we need to specifically talk about the Wilberforces, because I think that is something that really struck the fear into us as children, because the special effects, whilst a little bit cheesy, certainly would, give a child nightmares. And I think we all got nightmares from this horrible show, and particularly those transformation scenes.
They showed it in the afternoons to children.
So these are the things I'm asking, right? So this was obviously, now you guys get home from school, want to watch some high quality New Zealand television.
And there was like one channel to watch. There was nothing else.
Yes, okay.
This was it.
It was that or religious programming.
Right. And this man appears, and it's like, there's something, Dom, as a horror fan, this, is that the only thing scarier than horror is bad horror makeup. It actually makes it look even more unsettling, and that's definitely what this man has.
Oh, it's cheesy. It's cheap as chips. The special effects have dated so badly, but at the same time, it's a product of its time. And I think, for those of us who experienced it and watched the whole thing, and as Dori said, it was one of those things you couldn't stop watching, even though afterwards you had terrifying visions of cosmic slugs coming to abuse you. But I think what's also really interesting for me, if we can be a little bit more serious for a second, is the influence that this obviously had on Peter Jackson. Rewatching the show, right. So much of his, camera work, framing, the way that he uses the camera to create a point of view, a lot of that finds its origins in Under the Mountain, and it was very interesting to make that connection many years later, because obviously Peter Jackson, being from New Zealand, would have watched this. He's more or less our age, so I'm sure he had a similar experience, and I think it really influenced what he did as a horror director going forward. Without a doubt.
Just to clarify, because most people will know Peter Jackson from Lord of the Rings, but Dom is referring to one of his earlier films called Brain Dead.
Yeah.
Well,
which is
to me, it actually reminded me of his first movie, because it was done on a shoestring. He did it with his friends. He filmed it himself. He acted in it. He edited it. Called Bad Taste. It's a very low budget, awful movie, but it is such fun. And a lot of it reminds me so much of Under the Mountain and the way that the camera works in unsettling ways. And it really just struck me like this affected Peter Jackson as well. So we're not the only ones, Dori.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely.
So I see it's a mini series based on books, right? So there was a conclusion. Do you remember how it ended?
Yeah, so in the end, they get their blue rock and red rock to talk nicely to one another, and they actually destroy the volcano. And in destroying the volcano, they dump it into the Wilberforces. So the Wilberforces are now trapped under all this rock and sand. And then Mr. Jones decides, well, he's had enough of Earth. He's going to go back to Catch a Predator world, and he obviously disappears and flies off in a yellow. What should we call it? Splat, because it wasn't very impressive.
Yes. I imagined an orb.
I guess.
I imagined an orb. Yeah.
But yeah, great series. It was fun to to revisit it all this time later. A lot of it seems very cheesy and very outdated at the moment, but the horror still works. The feeling of tension, the feeling of dread, and the Wilberforces, I think, will go down for those who saw them as one of the best horror baddies of all time.
Really? I gotta look at these. Let me try to find a picture of a Wilberforce.
So what you saw in that clip was the Wilberforces. So they can appear human, and they get driven around in a big hearse-like thing, very much like the Addams Family. They have a chauffeur. I don't know if the guy came from outer space as a chauffeur. I'm not exactly sure what his job was on the normal Wilberforce planet, but here on Earth he was a chauffeur, then they can turn into these slug monsters, and you don't see that transformation until a couple of episodes in, and it's really super shocking.
I mean, some of the episode titles: Volcano of the Bleeding Skies, the Alien World Below, Weapons of the Mind. I mean, this is not kids' fare. Yeah. This is heavy stuff.
No.
But it was the 80s, so
right.
You know what I mean? Like there was just no fucks given in terms of traumatizing your children. Let's just put this on in the afternoon and see what happens.
So let's not even start with Raggedy from Rupert the Bear, okay?
So this was obviously because we had in South Africa, we had one day was English program and one day everything was dubbed into Afrikaans. Do you ever know if it was dubbed in Afrikaans? Because going back to the Man van Staal conversation earlier, in the Netherlands, the show is called Die Modder Monsters, the Mud Monsters. So I wonder if they dubbed it and called it Die Modder Monsters.
No, it was never dubbed. I can pretty much say that fairly categorically, because I'm sure if it was dubbed, they would have dragged me in to do Theo. That was the era where I was doing a tremendous amount of Afrikaans dubbing. In fact, if you hear any child speaking Afrikaans in an 80s show that was dubbed, it's probably me.
No, whoa.
I
really?
I used to spend days in the dubbing studios at the old SABC doing the Afrikaans dubbing for shows like Quincy and Van der Valk and a whole bunch of Afrikaans things. Yeah.
What are you saying?
That was also very that I'm the voice you remember.
Oh my God.
Dom is liver hexy. Let's just come clean.
Rip up the running order. What the hell? Listen, even if you weren't, you're now die swart kat. That's who you are to me now.
Hey, I auditioned for that show, but I didn't get it.
Oh, okay. Raw wound. Sorry about that. Oh my God, Dom, I didn't know that. That's
die SWAT cars.
fascinating. That's fascinating.
Yeah.
Tell us
Well,
about
I suppose that
book.
means you'll have to have me on again.
No. No ways. That is amazing. Oh, no, listen. I mean, in my day job, that's kind of what I like facilitate instead of doing the voices. So I know what a brutal world it is. And I can just imagine for a kid back in, and listen, you said the old SABC. The SABC, it's the same. It hasn't changed. It's still the same building.
Yeah, it is the same. I'm sure that the same machines and the same projectors are still there, having never been replaced in the last 30, 40 years.
Oh my word, that is so fascinating. Yes, we definitely have to have Dom come back and talk about
and then he can do cheesecake and liver hexie impressions for us because he's very good at those.
Oh, amazing. Like you are basically the Afrikaans Milli Vanilli, and I will dedicate 2 hours to that.
Yeah. No, I don't know if you guys remember, there was a show that was dubbed from French. The original French title was called Sans Famille, meaning without family. And I think here it was called Die Swaverkie. And it was about a kid in France who kind of ran away from home. He gets involved in like weird stuff, pickpocketing, kind of Oliver Twist-esque. And then he meets an old Italian man who kind of takes him under his wing and eventually finds out he's a prince or something like that. Anyway, I dubbed that whole thing. I was Remy from Die Swaverkie. Oh no, it was called, sorry, my bad. Swaverkie was a different one. This one was called Alleen op die Wêreld.
Oh my
and that was about 12 episodes from French to Afrikaans. That was fun. I learned a lot of French.
I can imagine. Wow, that's so fascinating. Listen, that is huge because so we've started to promote this show as like a show for expats, a lot of South Africans living in other countries, and starting to push it out to people looking for a little bit of a nostalgia fix. And I think you've used some names there that people are going like, oh my word, remember that show? Like we are talking to a childhood celebrity. I mean, you're a child star. You're basically like who? Who didn't go off the rails?
Ricky Schroeder.
Yes. Wow. Oh, that is amazing. Who knew? Who knew that a movie about a catch the predator, TV show about a catch the predator man would end up in us meeting Die Swart Cut? I mean, that is very
I'll send you my invoice later.
Oh, just do that. Expect to be paid in the year never. Awesome. So this show, Under the Mountain, is it available anywhere for people to watch?
On YouTube, if they dare.
If they dare.
I think all the episodes are on YouTube, right, Dom?
I wouldn't say that's where I watched them, no.
Okay. I know that the whole of episode 1 at least is on YouTube because I saw it and decided not to look at it. But I saw it was there.
Look, everybody's an adult. We all understand how the internet works. You'll find it if you want it.
If you want it. But be warned. Be warned is all I'm saying.
Oh, that is so
And
good.
I'd love to know if anybody else who grew up in South Africa in the early 80s is also traumatized. We can form a support group.
Yeah.
Get in touch is all I'm saying.
Luckily we show all our, like, we don't really have a Twitter account, so we don't have to mark stuff as sensitive content. So we don't have to like put that little blurred thing that like we're all perverts and we want to look and we click on it and then there's like someone's just trolling us and said you're a pervert. So anyway, we all do that. I'm not the only one. So luckily we don't have to do that. You can post it up on that 80 Show essay on Facebook and see what people say. And we can see, and you know, got to be honest, the most disgusting thing in all of that was the boy, his shirt, his pseudo Hawaiian shirt. It's disgusting. It scared me. Oh, all right, Dom, thank you so much for joining us. We're definitely going to get you back to uncover the life of a child star in the SABC buildings of the 1980s. All right, Dori, so listen, that was phenomenal stuff. We've got to get Dom back. I want to talk to you quickly. This is a TV show. So anyway, last week we were talking Kirstie Alley. And I said, oh, I found a show here, a movie. I got to recommend it. I recommended it. This is how forgettable the movie was. A few weeks back.
You've done it before, you mean?
Yes, a few months ago, I did a Tom Selleck movie called Runaway, which was a futuristic cop movie. Yeah. And I was like,
yes.
yeah. So when I went, I was like, oh, have I watched this movie? Did I watch it? And then when I went to look for the trailer on YouTube, it showed I watched it. I was like, oh, okay. I went back. We did. So anyway, so that's Runaway if you want to see a Kirstie Alley movie. I want to talk to you about a TV show, right? You spoke about Tom Hanks earlier from The Love Boat. So it's very surprising that Tom Hanks is America's sweetheart, based on some of the weird choices he made when he was on the come up, right? So he was in that terrible movie, The Bachelor Party, which was not politically sensitive at all. He was also in that weird Dungeons and Dragons type of satanic panic movie, and then he became a big star. But he had a foray into a TV show, which you may remember, and this clip actually popped up a few weeks ago because his co-star in this passed away. And Tom Hanks was on a talk show talking about him, right? So going back early 80s, young Tom Hanks on this TV show, Tom Hanks and Peter Scolari, who passed away earlier this year in October, they were in a show in the 80s called Bosom Buddies, sitcom. Ran for a season and a half. Do you remember this?
No.
So you're going to remember the presence as the premise as I talk about it. So there are two guys trying to make it in advertising, okay, which is a shame for them. I feel really bad for them. And they aren't making a lot of money. I think they lose their apartment. And the only apartment they can afford to stay in is an all-woman apartment, okay? So guess what they do, Dori?
They pretend to be women. They dress up as women.
Shenanigans. They dress up as women.
Shenanigans.
And they go and live in this apartment as women. Women while at the apartment, men while at work, and shenanigans ensue. This show was praised in the 80s for using, this is weird, for using men to highlight the challenges women in the workplace face. Because obviously they'd get harassed and they'd get just comments and things. And people are like, oh, that really shows what it's like to be a woman in the 80s. It's like, well, shouldn't you show?
So this is the origin of mansplaining.
Maybe. Do you want to hear some of the premises of the show Bosom Buddies?
Sure.
Okay. When an immigrant sets his sights on Hildy, I don't know who that is, Henry decides to fake her death. Meanwhile, Isabel tries to land an agent. Isabel was a side character. Henry saves the life of a mobster's granddaughter. Kip and Henry's weekend at a secluded cabin yields hunger and fears of death. Meanwhile, Ruth accidentally lets a tiger loose in New York City. After the gang has a terrible time at a New Wave concert. Could have told you that.
How is that possible? No, I'm joking.
Kip daydreams about what life will be like for them as they get old. Like how the two are linked, I don't know.
Okay, I'm Googling the show because I honestly don't remember it, but maybe if I see pictures.
Macho Man episode. Henry worries that people don't perceive him as masculine, so he overcompensates. And it's full of jokes of them.
Oh my God. I'm looking at the poster.
Do you remember
I totally know this show.
You know the show.
Of course I do.
Of course you know the show. Of course you know the show. Bad. I mean, it's not even drag. It's just men dressed as women. It's just...
It does not look like Tom Hanks, though. My God.
I know. Very young. Very, very young Tom Hanks. This is before, if I have to place him, it's actually... I mean, this is even before he did any of his movies. That's how young he was.
1980.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, this is, if I go on timeline here, he was doing a lot of TV, and then, I mean, he did, because he only did Big in 1988. Oh, this is just before he did Money Pit. So that's kind of where it places him. But hey,
is this show available to be watched anywhere that we know of?
It is. You'll go look around for it. You will find it. Quite a lot of episodes on YouTube. The funny thing about it is when they're young, or when they're men, they're young. But obviously when they get dressed up as women, they age. Yes. They become like 60. They look like Golden Girls.
Totally.
Oh, so 2 traumatic TV shows for us because I did... because I wasn't traumatized by this until I looked it up again. Then I was like, oh, that's very uncomfortable. How I can have a normal relationship with a woman after watching that show, I don't know. So Under the Mountain and Bosom Buddies. And you know what? Listen, I'm sure there's a porn version of Under the Mountain somewhere where they're attacked by cosmic sluts, not cosmic slugs.
Ruin a show. Actually, improve a show by changing one letter.
That's what I'm saying. So speaking of which, let's jump into something we've been wanting to do for weeks, right? So
Yes.
Barrett interviewed Tiffany. Okay, Tiffany, I think we're alone now. She is releasing a cookbook. She's doing a new album, but releasing a cookbook. And it's when Barrett interviewed, it sounds like she's cooking. I mean, like she's dedicated.
Literally sounds like she's cooking. Exactly. Like stirring the pot.
Yeah. You can find that Celeb Savant. Go look that up. You'll find that interview with Tiffany. So her cookbook is called, is it Breakfast at Tiffany's or Breakfast with Tiffany? It's one of those.
Breakfast with Tiffany. That's what makes it clever.
Yeah. Well,
because at Tiffany's is a place, but Breakfast with Tiffany it's with her. She's gonna help you have breakfast,
which is cool. But
yes, it's cool.
I love a pun, and I was like, is this not a missed opportunity to have a really fantastic book name? Okay, so we said, okay, what else would we call it? Look, now we're limited. Tiffany, love her iconic song, but I mean, she's really only known for one song. Okay, not her fault.
True.
That was the time. So.
Sorry, Barrett. Barrett would definitely argue with us about this, but sorry, it's just true.
No, what I'm saying is she's only known for one song. Okay. So,
yes.
Yeah, it's not saying she only did one song. She obviously didn't. She's only known for one song, right? So, I was going to go through song names, but I had to go through the lyrics of I Think We're Alone Now. Do you have it? You said you've got some names for Tiffany's cookbook that we're going to suggest to her.
They're so silly, and I only worked on the title.
Okay.
I didn't go on any of the other lyrics.
Okay.
If she does a cookbook about ice cream, the book can be called "It Just Needs a Cone Now."
Okay. Good stuff.
Okay. Ice cream book.
Yes.
Tiffany in the UK. I think I want scones now.
Okay. Yes. I think I want scones now. Yes.
Okay. Talking about that endangered species in Cape Town. Let's eat abalone now.
That's a terrible thing for breakfast.
Terrible.
Oh, okay.
Terrible.
So that's where we are because I looked at some of the lyrics. So I also had, I think we're a scone now. I think that's.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yes, so I think we're a scone now. Running just as fast as pecan. So that's also very similar to your ice cream one, pecan pie, and the beating of our tarts. Breakfast. So I think we're a scone now. I mean, anything. I mean, you're just missing a scone for a breakfast-based recipe book. I mean,
I like it. Just needs a cone now.
It just needs a cone now.
All sorts of ways to make ice cream.
Yeah. So, Tiffany, we're gonna come at you. What's your inbox? It's probably not too late to change. I mean, books are easy. Once they're printed, it's easy. Just recall them. No problem. So missed opportunity to do some puns. Tiffany's cookbook. Oh, boy. And then another story I come across a few weeks ago triggered me, made me so angry, Dori. So Axl Rose of Guns N' Roses, right? They're still touring. They're back on tour, sold out. Like, people love it. So they go to Australia, and Axl Rose has got this tradition that he's always done. At the end of the concert, he throws his microphone into the crowd. Doing this for years, since the 80s, right? Only in Australia. God bless Australia.
When he was here, though. I wonder if he did that when he was here.
It's a thing. So
I was very far back.
Yeah.
Very far back. I wouldn't have seen it.
So they say it's a thing. Australia, we love you. Got some listeners out there, but you guys know what you are. Okay. Axl Rose is tossing out his mic toss in the interest of public safety after someone was reportedly hit and injured by his microphone at a concert in Australia. If true, we don't want anyone getting hurt or somehow hurt in any way at our shows, so we are cancelling it, having tossed out the mic at the end of the show for over 30 years. Always felt it was a known part at the very end of a performance, and the fans wanted and were aware of and have an opportunity to catch the mic. But this woman got hit, Rebecca Howe, leaving her with 2 black eyes and a bloody nose. If my head was turned and it hit me in the temple, it could have killed me. Comment.
Okay, first of all, he will be saving some money now, which is probably a good thing as he's heading towards retirement.
They got the money.
Because these mics can't be that cheap. They can't be. I mean, he would need a good mic for his concert.
No, not his mic.
Okay.
Not his mic.
Not his mic.
Not his mic. Not his.
Okay, true. But this is just the perfect illustration of how soft people have become since we were tough in the 80s. Oh my God.
I mean, it's so like they say that they say if true, because now they want to get sued. Like they say there.
Yes.
You know, this is something we've been doing for 30 years. We thought people knew about it and it's a part of the show. It's kind of like if I'm going to a Guns N' Roses concert, even now and nowadays Guns N' Roses, we're not even talking like in the 80s, even like old man Guns N' Roses, and I don't get hit by a microphone. I'm like, dude, like what did I pay for? Like I got Golden Circle, I got you early, I want to get hit by a microphone. Like you got to pay extra to get hit by a microphone. Surely, Dori, not Rebecca Howe getting hit. Oh, my feelings. I mean, don't go to Guns N' Roses. Even old man Guns N' Roses.
He's like, and I can't believe he's giving into this shit.
He's giving in. This is a post. His Twitter post has come to my attention. Not doing it. Public interest. Public safety. I mean, come on.
Maybe she threatened to sue him and said, I won't sue you if you stop doing this so that nobody can get hurt in future.
Oh, come on.
That would be a very Australian thing to do.
I would. Even, I'm not like this. I like Guns N' Roses. I'm a massive fan. I would contribute to some sort of Kickstarter fund that says, be sued, pay her, we'll pay for it so that you can carry on doing it. That's my Kickstarter.
Seriously.
There's no way they stop this. Maybe, I mean, if you stop it, I got a bit of arthritis in my shoulder. I can't foist it like I used to. Look, it's also another thing. Maybe like in the heyday, he was throwing far, like right in the middle of the crowd. Now he's like, little old man throw front row.
And just dropping it on the person in the front row.
It's basically falling and rolling off the stage. Maybe that's what happened. It's like no one's got a chance to catch it then. Axel, God damn it. It's US Slash. It's not your real hair anymore anyway. Oh, moral of the story, stop suing Guns N' Roses because you got hit by a microphone. Because people want that.
One of my favorite claim to fame things that ever happened to me in my life was in the 90s. The band Bush came here to perform, and I somehow managed to get right in front, and there was a humongous mosh happening right by us in the front, and people were bashing into me. I was being bashed against the barricade throughout the entire show. Ended up in hospital from it because it did fuck up my back.
Oh wow, good stuff.
And I was like, worth every second, worth
it. Exactly. That's what you want. You're gonna go to Bush, mosh pit. Like I remember when they used to do the cigarettes, all the cigarette parties. Yeah, those underground cigarette parties.
Yes, it was a lucky strike. It was a lucky strike.
Okay,
event.
right.
That's what it was.
So,
yes.
So you could go to these parties. And it was all exclusive. And there was a tiny one that I missed with Cypress Hill. I had the tickets. I didn't go. And one of the members of Cypress Hill slapped a guy I know. Slapped him. And he's like, fucking best night of my life. It's like he was pissed with me.
Now, if that happened now, this guy would sue them.
No, he was like, it was fucking fan. I got slapped by someone from Cypress Hill. I mean, fuck, what a great story. Damn it, Rebecca Howe, you're just ruining it for the rest of us.
I'm gonna quote a famous Australian, Chopper.
Yeah.
Harden the fuck up, Rebecca. Harden the fuck up.
There you go. There you go. Well done. So, Dori, do we know what's happening with our live shows yet, or we're just winging it?
You mean the Christmas show?
The Christmas show, New Year show, live shows.
We definitely are aiming to do at least a 2-hour-long Christmas show, which will play out on Christmas Day and hopefully Boxing Day and hopefully the 2 public holidays after those days. But I can't say for sure. The point is, we are hoping. Let's make it happen, Paolo. We're going to make a Christmas show. So there will be an extra long show.
So either way,
let's hope.
Follow us at 80 Show SA Facebook page to get the details. Either way, there is going to be podcasts. So whether we do the live show in Cliff Central, we're still going to do podcasts over Christmas. Maybe take a day off, maybe take a week off here and there, but we still aim to do shows because obviously it is the time of giving and it is the time of last Christmas. Dori, last Christmas news this week. Firstly, it's become the latest song to hit 1 billion streams on Spotify. Listen, I was listening to it over the weekend. Monday, it hits 1 billion. I'm gonna say, right?
You're not saying it was you, but
it was me. And then once again, this is where I don't get my hopes up anymore because, as we know, last Christmas, biggest song never to be Christmas #1. Right? The year it came out at the time of Do They Know It's Christmas, Superband, not going to do it. Mariah Carey always gets it. And then now there's this fucking Elton John and Ed Sheeran, like fantastic Christmas song as well. It's like, how do you compete with Elton John and Ed Sheeran? So they're always competing with the 3. Those 3 are currently top 3 and will be decided next week which one of them is going to be in Christmas #1. Currently, Last Christmas is #2. But I guarantee that it's going to be Ed Sheeran and Elton John again. And once again, it'll miss out on a Christmas #1.
But you like it that way.
I do. It's a factoid because it's trivia. It's a trivia thing I could say. Even the year.
What is the greatest Christmas song that was never Christmas #1?
I know. They tried so hard. Even the year, I think it was on the 25th anniversary of it was the 30th anniversary, they had the movie Last Christmas to like get it to #1, and that didn't even get it to #1.
Still didn't work. Yeah.
So it's never going to happen, but I do like that it's never happened. So obviously that's the song we're going to play out with today. Dori, what a fantastic! Thanks for bringing Dom in. That was fantastic. You always have the best guests.
I do.
Everything we spoke about in today's show, you can find on that 80 Show SA on Facebook. If you don't listen to us again, have all the best times. Whatever you celebrate it. If you like avoiding family, avoid them. If you like having people around you, have them around you. Just do it and listen to Wham while you're doing it, right, Dori? I think that's our message to everyone.
Yeah. Totally.
Good stuff. Watch lots of bad TV. Thanks for joining me, Dori. Goodbye.
Bye.